Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. Susan's Just Making It. I'm Susan and I'm here making stuff, messes, chaos, and making it through life. If you've been here before, welcome back. If this is your first time watching, welcome. Happy Mask Monday, everyone. So I hope everyone's off to a great start to their week. And if you like today's video, don't forget the thumbs up right down here. And if you haven't subscribed yet, consider hitting that red subscribe button. And if you hit the red subscribe button, you might as well hit the notification bell so you know every time a new video is uploaded. So for today's Mask Monday, I am going to be using this sheet mask, which is made with coconut water and lychee. And the name brand is Yvette. And it's a daily fresh squeeze, and it's supposed to be like a soothing mask. And I picked this one because it's been really warm here the last few days and I've been sweating a lot, and as a result I've been having a little bit of breakout. I usually never have a problem with acne, but because the heat has come on so suddenly and I've been sweating so much, it has resulted in a breakout. So we're going to see if I can soothe my face a little bit, and hopefully this will clear up in the next day or so. It should. It usually does. This is a sheet mask that was part of a giveaway that I won from Carol Gardner very recently, and I will link her channel down in the description box so you can check her out if you haven't already. I just love her and her energy and her goofiness and silliness, and she's just wonderful. So if you haven't checked her out, definitely worth doing so. So I'm going to go ahead and put this mask on, and then for today's Mask Monday I thought I would share some of my works in progress. I haven't been as active on YouTube lately uploading or watching videos because I've been trying to work on some of these projects because I have so many works in progress that are not completed. So I've been trying to make progress on them and get them knocked out hopefully relatively soon, but good luck with that, because I know how I am. Before finishing one project, I'm grabbing another one to start on, and it's usually not a good idea for me. I'll have like 20, and that's conservative projects going at a time. And everyone keeps telling me, why don't you finish one project? Oh, that's very drippy. I made sure I brought towels in here today. Everyone's telling me, why don't you finish one project before you start another? And I'm like, that'll never happen. So I just thought I would share a few of the more recent ones I've been trying to make progress on. And I'm trying to unfold this mask without ripping it and without getting the essence everywhere, because this is like dripping all over the place really bad. So let me see if I can get it unfolded. The reason I have it off to the side is because I have some towels over here. I would rather have it drip on the towels than on my lap, which it already has, and everything else that I have on the table. Just trying to get it all unfolded before I bring it over here to drip all over everything. So that's why I usually do it in the other room, because it's so messy. So we'll see if I can get it on. My hands are just dripping with essence. Oh my gosh, it smells so good. It reminds me smell like a natural butter, like a shea butter or cocoa butter or something. It's got a very nice smell to it. Okay, let's see if I can get this on. Get it. Like I said, I don't care for this camera because everything's mirrored, so it's hard for me to tell what I'm doing sometimes, where I'm stretching and positioning and so forth. That's good. This is the one that's off. I think this is going to have to be good enough for a fit. Okay. Yeah, let's see. I should have brought another. Let me do this. Let me first of all get my hands a little degreased so I can see. And I got a mirror here. It's going to work much better than looking in the camera, which is mirrored. It's not the best fitting mask I've ever used, but we're going to make it work. It's a little snug. It must be made for someone with a very little face. I don't think my face is that big, but apparently it's made for somebody with a little tiny face, because I'm just glad I had a palette sitting here to grab and use a mirror. Okay, the struggle is coming to an end here. I think that's gonna be good. and my hands are like very, very wet. I'm just going to do a trick that I've watched some of the other ladies do and cut this piece here so it'll lay down better, much more comfortable. Okay, so let's see if I can talk without tasting the mask. I'd rather not. It smells good, but I don't want to taste it. So get my hands wiped up enough before I start touching other stuff. Yeah, so we'll see how this feels when I take it off. And I was noticing right when I turned the camera on, see, right here, right here, no, over here. Like I said, it's hard to, because this stupid thing is mirrored. I feel like uncoordinated here, knowing where I'm, like right in here, okay? I was noticing when I turned the camera on, look at this white hair just like really going, hello, I'm here. And I'm not going to pluck it out because it'll leave and it'll bring back like 10 friends. So we'll just let it chill out right there. But the nerve, it's just like there. So let's see. Where do I want to start? I guess the first project I'll share with you guys is this is a mini album that I started. As you can see, there's not a lot of progress made in it. I have not done the cover yet. I'm just trying to find where the front is. I think this is around. So I haven't done the cover or anything yet. I just covered the chipboard with this like manila color cardstock, and I just went through a ton of my scraps. I'm trying to use up some of my scraps before cutting into like a lot of big sheets or collections or paper pads, because I'm getting overrun with paper scraps. So this is an attempt to cut down on some of my scraps. In the next few albums I do, I'm going to attempt to do that, because it's just getting out of control. But I went through my collection and I just grabbed a whole bunch of like pink paper scraps, and I tried to coordinate them the best as I could as I went along. So basically I just assembled the album so far and made all the pages with the cardstock, and then I just went through and covered the pages with the pink paper. And that's as far as I've gotten on this. There's pockets, a bunch of flaps and fold downs and so forth. So is that another page, or oh, it's just a whole bunch of flaps. It's been a while since I covered it, so I can't remember where everything flips and flaps. But anyway, it's got a ton of flips and flaps and pockets and all that good stuff. But all I've done so far is just went through and covered it with a variety of pink papers. And like I said, I tried to somewhat coordinate it as I went along so that it flows pretty decent. And the next step I'm going to do is pick out a paper that I have enough of. I might have to cut into some full sheets to do the cover because it's just bigger pieces of paper, but I did knock down a lot of pink scraps doing this. So I'm going to go back and do a cover it, and then do some embellishing and stuff like that, and then create a nice cover and something for the spine and so forth. But that's just started. At least I knocked out some pink scraps and got it assembled. Now it comes to all the decorating and the fun part. So that's one thing that I've been working on a little bit. Then I've been working on I'm trying to think if there was any more floating around. These two junk journals. I have been wanting to do an Alice in Wonderland themed junk journal for the longest time. I have seen so many people's takes on it, and it's such a popular book, and a lot of people really like Alice in Wonderland. So I'm like, I have to do an Alice in Wonderland junk journal. And when I started collecting, you know, papers and embellishments and decorations and printing things up to include in the junk journal, I found that I just had so much of it. So I'm like, well, that's okay, I'll do two. And Alice in Wonderland is popular enough that I will have no problem finding homes for two of them. So I did the covers. I did two of them a little bit different. One I want to do a little bit more vintage and neutral, and then one I want to do a little bit more colorful. So the covers are made out of cake mix or brownie boxes, I can't remember, where I basically just cut the flaps off the top and bottom and then one of the sides, and then you end up with your book, your cover. So this one, like I said, is going to be the more colorful one. So it's got like this dark pink check, and then I didn't have quite enough to do the front and back and the spine, so I just did the spine with some black cardstock. And then I lined the inside with this paper that's got some Alice in Wonderland type theme to it. and just some crinkled seam binding, which is going to be the closure, because as you can see, it has a hard time staying closed, which as it's made, it will become more flexible and stuff, but I don't know how bulky it's going to be, so I thought I would go ahead and put a tie-in now, just in case I need it, instead of trying to figure out how to put a closure on later. And I wanted to put a hole in a brad, an eyelet, so I could make like a dangle, like some charms and stuff. But for some reason I was having a really hard time setting an eyelet. It just wasn't working, so I just put this fancy brad there on the spine. Just had to change my plan a little bit, but I think it's going to be fine. And this is the one that I'm going to do that's a little bit more neutral. And this was the same type of thing. Since I used one sheet of paper, I didn't have enough for the front and back and spine, so I did the black cardstock on this spine as well. This is a brownie box or cake mix box as well. And then I just did a more neutral color seam binding for a closure. And this is what the front looks like so far. And because the paper already had some elements that I liked, of course the cards and the roses from the book, I'm not going to need to decorate the cover that much because there's a lot already there. And on the back, another part of the sheet had this on it, so I thought that was really pretty. I don't do much with the backs anyway, so I think this just, you know, made it look a little bit nicer. So this is only going to need minimal embellishing on the covers, and I'm going to have to glue this down a little bit better. I'm noticing because it's not staying down as much as I want, but that's okay. I can fix it with some more glue or tape. And this is what the inside looks like, you know, the white rabbit looking at his pocket watch. So I thought this was a nice paper for the inside cover. So there's the two covers for the Alice in Wonderland. And yeah, this is bothering me. I'm gonna have to get some real I have some really super adhesive double-sided tape that I'm gonna have to run around there because it doesn't want to stay down, but that's okay. That's an easy fix. I'm just gonna put that down, and I thought I would go ahead and show you guys, you know, some of the stuff. There's a ton here, like a ton. This is all the different stuff I pulled out of my stash and printed for the Alice in Wonderland journals. So I just thought I would share like a few of the things that I am, you know, pulled out to possibly use. There's a ton here. I am not going to use all this, I know, but I found these and printed them off the internet, the Victorian playing cards, and I thought those would be nice for some journal cards. And this is from an old botanical book, the mushrooms, and then I found a collection of like all of these, just gonna leaf through them, different cards and stuff that I can fold over and make pockets and all this stuff. I found this on the internet, you know, all this Alice in Wonderland themed stuff that's gonna be separated between the two. And like I said, I will not use all of this. I have a ton, but that's fine because if there's stuff left over, I can always do another one another time if I need to. And then I pulled a ton of stickers and stuff out of my stash, anything that I thought I could use. This one because it's got the little crown, and then some Tea Party themed stuff. And this is a Bow Bunny collection that is like Alice in Wonderland themed. Some borders. I thought the hearts would be nice to use, and maybe this one. A lot of it I don't know. I just make it up as I go along. And this one because it has the crown again, and this one's got a crown. When I do a project, I just go in my stash and I just start pulling out anything that I think I will possibly want to use. And if there's stuff left over, I always put it back. But I'd rather have a ton of stuff in front of me instead of getting up and looking for more stuff, as I've got this, I've got that, and then having to remember where it is and dig for it. If it's in front of me, I don't have to do that. I bought this online, I can't remember where, but it's got some of the mushrooms in it. This is from that collection. It's die cuts and stuff. You see the teacups, the roses, the key. So I might use some of those. I have some vintage book pages from an Alice. The glare is terrible because it's in a sleeve, so they don't get damaged. Some vintage book pages from an Alice in Wonderland book. There's just so much. I have a stamp with the clock faces. There's just all kinds of different things that I have found and printed out. And so these will be journal cards and pocket tucks and pockets and all kinds of stuff. So it would take me forever to go through this whole bin because there's a ton of stuff. But I just wanted to show you a few things that I pulled out. And like I found these little paper doll images. I'm not sure how I'll incorporate them, but I might or I might not. But anyway, there's a whole bin of stuff. So I'm excited to do that. I think I've been kind of holding off because I might need to tea-dye more papers for the pages. So I'm trying to see how much paper I have already tea-dyed. Before I dive into it, I might have to just take a day and tea-dye a bunch of papers, and maybe I'll do a video one day how I go about doing that. But if you're curious, there's other videos on YouTube of other creators that show how they tea-dye their pages. But I'm not sure I have enough for all my journals, so I might take a day and do that first because it's kind of time consuming, and I'd rather take a whole day and do like a whole stack instead of spreading it out over several days because it's messy and it takes a long time. So here is another junk journal I've started, and that's as far as it got. This is going to be a baby girl themed junk journal where a parent can put ephemera, journal, put pictures and stuff. And this is the cover I came up with, and I can't remember. I think this cover is an actual book cover that came off an antique book that I took apart to use for a project. So I just covered it in paper to give it a new life instead of throwing it away. And I put some brown paper on here, but I just didn't care for the way it looked. So this is some muslin that I glued on there to give it a softer look and a different texture. And then I used this trim. I'm not sure where I got it or exactly what it's supposed to be for, but it's like a crinkly ribbon for a tie closure, and I was generous with it so it can be tied into a really pretty bow. And then I just on the inside I put some of the brown cardstock and some pretty pink floral paper. So that's the cover for it. And again, I just pulled a ton of stuff out of my stash in pinks, like all kinds of pink papers and stickers and like some scraps of pink papers. Like I put a lot of pink in the mini album, but these are like softer pinks, and they're not, the ring lights make, yeah, there, it's a little bit truer colors, but really soft vintagey pinks. Just trying to throw this in there without getting them all wadded up. I just basically pulled a ton of stuff out of my stash, anything that was pink and girly. And I did, I was playing around once with a file folder about junk journal inserts, and I made this, and I'm not sure if I'm going to include it or not, but this is just playing around a little bit one day, and I covered that. If I don't use it for this, I'll use it for something. I made like a lot of these are just like little experiments I did, and I might use them, like a page with the two pockets where tags can go in, like a library card type pocket. I have some, it just got wet, but it'll dry. Just some different envelopes, just a ton of stuff. And like I said, I don't have a plan when I start. I just sit down. Usually I have the cover made, and then I put my pages in, however many signatures I'm going to use, and then I just start decorating. I start putting tuck spots, pockets, journal cards, stamping, whatever. I just let it take a life of its own. I just sit down and start playing. And this packet is this bag, I'm not going to take everything out, but it's all kind of vintage baby cards. I bought off a third-party seller, you know, vintage just cards that have been used that I will cut up and use as embellishments or cards or tuck spots. And then a ton of, let's see if I can take some of them out without making a huge mess. Actually, I think that's all this is the vintage cards. And I thought I had a stack, I'm not sure where it's at, it might be mixed in here, of different little cards and stuff I printed off the internet. And like I said, I just threw everything in here when I picked it up for the day, so I'm not really sure what all's in here. But I did print a lot of journal cards that are vintagey with like baby announcements, baby cards, all that kind of stuff. And the video would be way too long if I dug through them to find them, because I just threw everything in there when I picked up for the day. And then I have this little shoebox of different embellishments that I made playing one day that I might incorporate. A lot of times I just sit down with different scraps and doodads and just play around because I'm bored. So I don't know what of that I'm going to use, but that's stuff that's going to be made into that journal. So that's the paper crafting stuff that I've been working on. That I was working on a while ago and I put away. I'm just going to leave this on for a couple more minutes because it's getting dry and it's been on just about long enough. It's a 10 to 20 minute mask. So that's the paper crafting stuff I was working on, and it's been a little while since I've worked on that. The most recent thing I've been working on is, I'm going to go ahead and take this off because it is getting really dry and it's been on long enough. The most recent thing I've been working on that's been consuming a lot of my time, and because it's a big project that is time consuming, I just do a little bit, go on with my day, come back, do a little bit, and it's been going on for a little while. I am doing a couple quilts, and I'm doing the quilt as you go method, and this is the book that I'm using that has the concept, and I purchased this from Amazon, and it is still available on Amazon, and I will put a link to it down in the description box for anyone that's interested in looking into this. I actually found out about this book on a blog, and I cannot for the life of me remember what blog because it was a while ago and I can't keep track of all that in my brain, just not enough room. But it is on Amazon. I will put a link to this down in the description box, and it will be an affiliate link. So for transparency, just to let you know, I will receive a small commission, and it's very tiny if anyone that's aware of affiliate, stuff. But this was mentioned in a blog, and I was like, oh, it's really interesting. I'm curious what that's all about. And I've seen some on the internet, some methods, but I wasn't crazy about them. And basically this method, and actually one of the quilts I'm working on is kind of this one that's shown on the cover, is where it works mostly in fabric strips, like jelly roll strips or just strips of fabric. And you basically sew your fabric straight onto your batting pieces. Then when you're all done, you sew your blocks together, and the batting in the front is already assembled, and it's basically about putting your back piece on and then quilting the 3 layers together. So the whole idea behind this is that anyone that has made quilts or knows anybody that makes quilts, it's extremely time consuming, it is extremely labor intensive. That's why if you purchase a handmade quilt, they're expensive because a lot of time goes into them, and fabric is not cheap anymore. So it's just a little bit easier, so someone that's into quilting, you can create a quilt in a shorter amount of time. Because I don't know about you guys, but I get frustrated when a project takes forever. When I get to a certain amount of progress in a project, I want to see what it looks like when it's done. I do not want to take forever longer to finish it. So this makes it so that you can pump them out a little bit quicker, and it's just as simple. It's not as precise. I'm still somewhat of a novice at quilting, and all the triangles and the perfect points and the perfect measurements, that is not my thing. I do not have the time to measure the stuff out in these very precise cuts. I won't do it. I won't do it. I just am not going to take a year to make a quilt because I had to cut 50 million pieces and they had to be exact measurements and they had to be sewn exact margins. It won't happen for me. Those of you that do it, God bless you, but not me. I want easy, simple, not precise, or I won't stick with it. Just being honest about how I am. And this has a lot of projects in it, and it's very easy to understand. She explains things very well. Actually, the blocks I'm going to show you, this is the quilt that I'm going to show you first that I have all my blocks completed for, and I didn't pay attention. The thing is, you have to cut all your batting first, and that can be time consuming, cutting all your blocks to whatever size. Plan on taking a day to do that. And I cut the blocks, and I'm like, geez, that doesn't seem like much blocks. And then I went back and looked at the directions, and it was only the size for a throw. I'm like, well, what am I going to do with a throw? I'm not a little person. I don't have children at my house. So I went back, and there's a chart in here that tells you, like, how many blocks of what size for what size quilt. So I went back and I looked at the chart, how many I would need for a twin size. I'm like, well, I at least want a twin size so I can put it at the foot of the bed or throw on the sofa or whatever. So I went back and cut the additional blocks, which made a lot more work for myself. But what am I going to do with a throw? You know, I mean, if you have children or if an elderly person that's in a wheelchair wants a lap, you know, a lap quilt, that's fine. But me personally, it wasn't going to work for me. So I went back and did that. And then the second one that I've been working on, let me see if I can leaf through, and the blocks I cut out. In her book, she calls it the red square, where she uses like red and white, but that doesn't quite go with the color scheme of my home. So it doesn't show up very good here, but I think on her blog, let's see if I can get it up here closer. I went with more, she shows a couple other different color schemes. I went more with this one with the light colors, which is the same concept. You just choose whatever colors work for you. So link to this will be in the description box. Does anyone even read them? I don't know. I'm going to leave Carolyn's channel down there. I'm going to leave a link to this. And a quick reminder, I still have 2 starter FabFitFun boxes to give away, and it's going to be expiring soon. So anyone that's interested in trying FabFitFun and would like to take advantage of a free starter box, you only have to pay $5 shipping and handling. That's it. I forget how many items comes in it. I think 4 or 5. I don't remember exactly because it was a long time since I got mine. Definitely well worth the $5. And then if you don't want to subscribe, just cancel it and you've got a nice starter box for $5. And I have 2 available. So if you're interested, shoot me a message on Instagram or an email and I will send you an invite to take advantage of them. Just a FYI if someone wants to take advantage, because they're going to expire soon if I don't gift them to someone. So if you want to try it, let me know. So for the first quilt that was shown on the cover, I have been dying to do a quilt with a red, pink, and aqua or teal or whatever color story. Every time I see pictures of them, I just love them. It reminds me of like the retro type thing, and I just love the color scheme. So I did enough blocks to make a twin size, and here is some of them. I'm just going to show you a few of them. I did throw in like a few other colors just to break it up here and there, like some greens and let's see, just those shades, just those 3 colors but different shades, whatever I had in my stash. I did not buy any special fabric, just what I had. And I just wanted to, like, this is more like a turquoise, but it works. I was trying to find one that had, where I grabbed some other colors. Like in this one, this has the green, but it's also got the teal, so it worked. I mean, it's not an exact thing, whatever works, whatever is pleasing to your eye. And like this one, it has like a light green. But anyway, those are a handful of the blocks, and this is when you assemble them. And let me see how it's gonna go. Okay, so like this, and it's all gonna come together in squares, and it's going to make a square. Let me see. It's hard to explain showing you. Let me see if I can find it here real quick to describe. I don't want this video to get super long, but I wanted to show you kind of what I'm talking about, because sometimes I can show you better in a picture than describing it to you. Okay, so with this picture, when you put it together, see how it creates these different squares once it's sewed together? I don't know if you can understand the picture. Sometimes I'm not good at describing things the way I want to. But those are the ones I've showed you, plus this much more. That stack I just set aside, plus this for a twin size. So this is why it's time consuming. Even though this is a quicker method, that's a lot of blocks to do. Okay? So they're all done. It's just a matter of me squaring them up to size, sewing them together, and then putting the back and so forth on. And I'm not sure if I want to when I put the back on, if I want to do some stitching as quilting, or if I'm being lazy, I might just tie it with knots, which is probably what I'll do because I'm kind of lazy that way. And I don't think I'll do binding. I'll do what they call a pillowcase technique, where you basically I would put the right side of my backing and the right side of the quilt side to side. So over here is your bad side, stitch around it, leave however much, like maybe this much open, turn it inside out, stitch where I had it open, and then go around and stitch a couple times around the whole quilt, and then I'll tie it or quilt it, because to be honest, I have not completely finished a quilt yet and did the binding, and I'm a little intimidated by it. It's probably not as hard as it seems, but I have done things with the pillowcase method and it's much easier, so I probably will wimp out and do that. So that's that, and I finished all these blocks probably about a week and a half, 2 weeks ago. I finished those blocks, and it took a while to get those done. So now I'm working on one all in low volume, because I want just a light colored low volume quilt. Now that I do not have, I have my cat, who is my quality control. No matter where I put these piles of blocks, she finds them and she must lay on them. Wherever I move them. I keep moving them so she'll leave them alone. Nope, she finds them, she lays on a stack of blocks. So she's my quality control, I guess. But aside from the cat, I don't have dogs anymore. I don't have children anymore. I do not have a man in the house, and I swear they are oblivious to the messes they make. Just my opinion. So I'm like, maybe I can have something nice and light colored now that I'm by myself with just a cat. So this is just really simple. All you do is start with a square, whatever size. You cut strips different widths. You put your square, and then you go in whatever direction, lay your strip, sew it, cut it, and then just keep going in whatever direction, however you want. Very simple, very easy. Just grab and go, grab and go, grab and go. So I just thought I'd show you. There's more over there, but I just picked up a pile just to give you an idea of what they look like. And these are bigger. These are going to be, I think, 12 or 12 and a half by 12 and a half, something like that. And again, it's not precise. I noticed that some of them are not straight. They're a little bit crooked. So when I get done, and like some of them the batting shows, some of them fabric goes over the batting, it doesn't matter, because when I'm all done, I'm going to trim them all down true to size. And if there's a spot where like maybe a little bit of batting shows, more than likely it's going to get trimmed off. And that's what I like about these projects, is that they're not precise. I'm not into these where I have to be precise, because I know how I am. I'll get frustrated and I'll give up. I've been a perfectionist for so many years that I've gotten to the stage in my life I'm not willing to do that anymore. So these are the kind of projects I go for. I'm not into all the measuring. I'm not into the perfection. As long as it's not going to look terrible when I'm done, like super messy or like a child did it, I'm okay with it not being perfect. Now, if I were making them to sell, I would be. But for my own personal use, if it's good enough for me and I'm happy with it, that's where I'm at with it. And I'm not going to go through all these. I'm just giving you an idea. So basically, this was another thing. I went through my stash, and everybody organizes their fabric however, you know, like if they quilt or sew. I do mine by color. I have fabric, in case you're not aware, can get very heavy, very heavy. So I don't have the 20-30 gallon totes. I have the shallower ones that are big but shallow, because once you fill it with fabric, that's heavy enough. I'm not using a bigger tote, and I use the clear ones. So I organize mine by color. I have one that's black and gray, one that's brown and tans. I have red, pink, like the ones with peach, I have like peach and teal, and I have yellow. And then I have a dark green, a light green, a dark blue, a light blue. Purple, for some reason I don't have much purple fabric, so that's like just in a little small square tote. For some reason, I don't know why, but I don't have much purple. And then I have cream and off-white, and then I have one white, and then I have one with flannel and just miscellaneous stuff like muslin and just whatever weird fabrics. But so basically I got out my cream and my whites and just pulled whatever I liked that was kind of like the vintagey floral look. So I pulled all those out. I cut them into strips, different widths, you know, like this is a wider strip, and then we have like a narrow strip. So basically I just cut it into strips, and then I went through like all my strips of fabric and pulled out low volume, and there's a little bit of pinks and blues just to give it some color so it's not totally washed out. And then, like I said, you just basically, all my squares are different sizes. You know, some are 5 inches, some are 6 inches, some are rectangles. So basically I just sew that in, and you do your quilting as you go. So like trying to show you like the block. See all the, I'm trying to see if it'll show up good. Right here more. If you can see or not, it's got all the horizontal stitching. And it's not precise, I just go, you know, back and forth. And that's your quilting. Like this one you can see a little bit better, the stitching, the stripes. So, and I don't know if it'll show up on the back. It's not, I don't think. Yeah, see how, depending on how I laid the fabric, some of the stitching is horizontal, some of it's vertical. So that's your quilting. So you have your stitching in there. But you just start with your block, and then you just do a strip, until your block is filled. So super easy. Like I said, if it was not easy, I would not do it. Those of you that are familiar with Quilt As You Go will probably understand. Those of you that have done strip quilts, or what they call them, string quilts, probably would understand what I'm trying to say more. But anyway, it's neither here nor there. For those of you that don't craft or have no idea what I'm talking about, it's whatever. But basically, I just wanted to share what I've been working on, because I haven't been doing a lot with YouTube, because this is what I've been doing. Like I said, I was working on some of the paper crafting, got a little bit tired of that, so I moved on to the quilting, because both of these quilts were started and then they just got stopped at one point, and they were like sitting there, and I'm like, I really want to see how they look, and I really want to get them done. And I was like, well, why are you worried about working on quilts and blankets and with summer coming? So they'll be done by the time cold weather comes again. That's why. But and like I tell people all the time too, if I stuck to one craft, I'd be okay. But I quilt and sew, and I do the paper crafting, which is scrapbooking, junk journals, mini albums, cards, all that kind of stuff. And along with that, I have like the rubber stamping stuff. I do some stamping, and then I do crocheting. Knitting, I've never gotten the hang of. I've been crocheting since I was like 7 or 8 years old. So by the time I took an interest in possibly knitting, I was probably in my late 30s, maybe my early 40s, before I thought, oh, I want to try knitting. When you've been I don't know about other people, but when you've been crocheting for that many years, it's just hard to reprogram your mind to a different way of doing things. That's what it was like for me. So I've attempted it a few times, and I just cannot get the hang of it. But I crochet. I also do other crafts, like I'll get stuff from the thrift store and make something of it. And one day I want to do a video showing you guys some of the things that I've transformed from the thrift store. So I'll pick up things and I'll get an idea of how to make it into something else. So I work on that. I have a few pieces of furniture here in my own home that I bought, and they looked really, really sad, either from the flea market, the curb, a yard sale. And people are like, why are you bringing that home? Because I have an idea. And sometimes I surprise myself. So have flipped a few pieces of furniture. I would really love to do that for some money on the side, but I don't have the space for it. So I have my hands in so many things that's what gets me in trouble. First of all, because that's where all my money goes, is craft supplies. And I'm running out of space for craft supplies. So if I stuck to one craft, I might be better off financially and space-wise, but that's not the case. And every time somebody mentions a new craft, oh, have you tried this? Don't give me any more ideas. I have enough stuff going on. Like, I did soap crafting for a while, and I loved it, and I made side money, and it was great for gifts. But space-wise, I just had to give up all my stuff for it, because I just had to pare some stuff down. The next thing to go might be like my beading, because I just don't grab for that much, and I just am trying to pare it down and make space. So I've rambled long enough with my works in progress. Just wanted to show you guys what I've had going on, and that's what I've been working on. And the mask, my face feels really nice. It was a really nice mask. Again, it was the Fresh Squeeze, and there's still like a lot of serum in there. And guess that's it, because I've gone on long enough and I'm noticing the video has gotten super long. So happy Mask Monday, everyone, and I hope your week is off to a wonderful start. And I just want to say I appreciate every single one of you that take the time to watch, and if you want to just say hi in the comments, I appreciate that. I love hearing from all of you, and I love any type of feedback or communication that goes back and forth. So until the next video, bye everyone.